Greetings and welcome to the Halloween edition of the Sliders Review. And I'm here today to talk to you about Community Season 2 Epidemiology. At least I think that's how you say it. Anyway, this Halloween episode. Yeah, I know it's not Halloween no more. October's gone, but I still got videos to make. So yeah, in November you're gonna see a whole bunch of Halloween stuff. So anyway. I love this episode. It's so much better than season 1's Halloween episode, and season 2 of Community is the best season of them all. Season 1 comes in like second place, then third, and everything else just sucks. Anyway, this is when Community was at its best. This is before people started getting fired because of their bad behavior. This is before people started quitting the show. Community Season 2. Community could have been one of the greatest shows of all time if there wasn't so much drama behind the scenes that caused so much drama by the third season and ruined it after the third season. So they're having a Halloween party at the school and everybody's dressed up. And it's narrated by George Takei, who was Sulu in the original Star Trek series. Why? No idea, but it's cool to hear his voice. And so, it's never explained. It's just one of those random things that makes this show so great. This show is so random and stuff. And so, like, the dean threw his party and he has like all this food, and the music he's playing is by Appa. It's his own personal playlist. And sometimes you hear like his shopping list and stuff like that. Dean Pelton, he's featured more in the second season than he was in the first. In the first, he was in barely any episodes in the first half. And so he's dressed as Lady Gaga. Now, his sexuality is never truly explained on the show. He is believed to be gay, have a huge crush on Jeff, but he is also a bit of a cross-dresser, always dressing like as a woman. So this is back in like, geez, this was really early. This is back in like, when did this come out? God, I forgot. It's been a long time since this came out. I think 2012 maybe, or 9? I think it's around 2009, 10, 11, 12, something like that. That's when all like shows started losing their laugh tracks around that time. And I remember they made fun of like documentary shows, not documentary, what is them, comedy, dockery, or what do you call it, a documentary type comedy. They made fun of those in the second season. And people were wondering why their show isn't like that. So it was around that era of time, like the early 2010s. And so like they're there, and Pierce, he is dressed as like Captain Kirk. And so, let's see, Jeff is David Beckham. He's just wearing a suit and has a soccer ball. And Britta, she is a T-Rex with tiny arms. Annie is Little Red Riding Hood. And Shirley is Glinda the Good Witch. I gotta say, the costumes this season are so much better than the last season. Although Britta's squirrel costume was still cuter from the first season. And so they're all eating, and Pierce is just like, oh, where'd you get this food from? It tastes kind of weird. And the dean's all like, he got it from some type of army surplus store or something like that. It's like rations and stuff like that. Emergency ration type food. If you've ever eaten that before, it does not taste good at all. Like, I remember one time like a huge storm hit, and they had to give us that stuff, and I ate it thinking to myself, oh, this is going to taste great. And oh, you can cook it with just water? Like, this is awesome. Oh my God, I feel bad for military people. I feel bad. That stuff is not good tasting at all. And it doesn't matter how much seasoning you throw on there. So the guests, when they find out that the food comes from the military, they don't want it, they spit it out. And so, like, Britta and Jeff, they're doing their back and forth sarcasm type stuff. What viewers didn't know is they were secretly sleeping with each other during this period in time. You don't find that out until later on in the season. And so, all of a sudden, like, Annie's talking about, like, Shirley and her costume. And how they can't figure out what it is, and they think she's Miss Piggy. Only because she's big. I swear they're jokes, man. Because she's big with blonde hair and big boobs. Like, seriously? But she's Glinda the Good Witch. Chang is in this. And Chang is like Peggy Fleming, but they assume he's some other like Asian skater, which by this time he's no longer a teacher. Now he's just a student and living in like the vent system. Boy, this show got wacky. Abed and Troy, they're doing the whole alien thing. Abed is a xenomorph, and Troy, he is like Ripley in the giant like mech suit thing. So Abed, they're trying to hit on girls doing that. So Abed's coming in, doing a monster thing, all up in women's faces. And Troy's all like, "You get away from those hot ass." So he's trying to like rescue them, but it doesn't work because it's so lame. And so Troy started to realize, after also getting made fun by Jeff, that y'all are just a bunch of nerds, and y'all never gonna get women and all this other stuff. And that really hurts Troy's feelings to the point where he goes and changes. He comes back as Dracula, but he's just wearing pants, no shirt, and kind of like a weird tie bib thing. And he tells, and Abed is really offended by this. Abed's all like, "Why'd you change your costume? We're supposed to go together." This is more building on the whole relationship between Abed and Troy. They're like, I don't know, they're best friends, but it just seems like Troy likes him a little bit more sometimes, And so like, he tells Abed like, "I'm a sexy Dracula. Like, I make love to women and I like sleep during the day." And Jeff's all like, "I like that." I gotta give it up to Joe McHale, man. His acting surprised the crap out of me. Because he started off as a host, a comedian, like host type person. And he was on, what was the Soup? I missed the Soup so much before they screwed it up. God, he was great as the Soup. Oh God, man, y'all gotta find clips of him on the Soup. It's so great. So anyway, his acting surprised me because I'm thinking, okay, he's just a host. They're not really good at acting. Because he was in Spider-Man 2, his acting was not good. But then when he did Community, man, his acting was great. And so like he's been getting roles left and right ever since. And so all of a sudden Pierce starts to like act weird and stuff. And Starburns comes in as like a pirate. And then all of a sudden Pierce just starts biting at Starburns' arms, and blood is just like gushing from Pierce's mouth. And so they're all like, "What's going on with Pierce? Why is he biting people?" And then so Annie is trying to find him a doctor. So she mistakens this one dude dressed as a doctor. It's a Halloween party. He's not gonna be a real doctor. But then this guy in the giant banana suit's like, "I'm a doctor." And so it's Rich, the guy from pottery class that she has a crush on, that made Jeff all jealous. And so he's trying to like attend to like Starburns and everything. And all of a sudden Leonard starts to like act kind of crazy and stuff. But before that, he's checking on Pierce. And this is before he bit Starburns. I'm getting that messed up. So he's checking on Pierce. And he's talking about how he has a fever and this might be food poison. And the dean's all like, "We talked about not using that word." And so like, then Pierce bites Starburns, and they're like, "Whoa, what's he doing that for?" Then Leonard tries to bite Shirley, and she's like, "Yeah, bet that thing up." And then all of a sudden, they're all like, "Wait a minute, they're acting like zombies." Then everybody starts acting like a zombie. The whole room is hysterical. They're running, they're screaming, they're trying to find a way out of there, and people are just biting people left and right. I'm thinking to myself, zombies on this show? Like, what? And then so like, then they're all trying to barricade themselves in the study room, but Chang's the only person in there, and Chang won't let nobody in, but they have to like barge through, and so it's just the study group and Rich and Chang. The dean has made it out of there. He left through the front doors and he locked everybody in, and that's what pissed everybody off. The dean is so selfish. So anyway, when the dean's outside, he calls the military people and he's all like, look, I bought this taco meat from y'all place and blah blah blah. And they're all like, look, dude, we don't sell taco meat. He's like, yes, you do. So he pulls up the box. It has that poison sign symbol on it. He used some irradiated, messed up mess. And then so he says the code name, which somehow the military were like eavesdropping on a phone call, and or the and the FBI and stuff, and so they are like, we'll be there within a couple of minutes and just hold tight, don't let nobody out. And so, like inside, they're like scrambling, trying to figure out like what should they do. And Rich is all like, look, this is just like food poisoning, and everybody has a fever. And Annie's like, well, if we lower the temperature, maybe that'll break everybody's fever, and they're at normal. And then they're all like, Rich doesn't let them know that he's been bit on the ankle. And then so all of a sudden, he starts to like, something about they're all like, what are we gonna do about the zombies? We have to defeat them and stuff like that. And then like, he's all, and something happens where he reveals that he's been bit, but he thinks he's immune and stuff like that. And then he starts to turn. And then next thing you know, Britta's all like, you're not immune, I'm immune because I've been bit longer than you. And then she turns and everything. So they're all like, oh no, we're in the room with zombies. So then, I think Chain takes like Jeff's soccer ball. He's all like, you have to like take out his head. So he throws it. And then he misses and hits the window, and then all the zombies bust through and they grab Annie. So now she's been bit. So now they're down so many people. And like, so they like push through like the doors and they push through all the people. And then Jeff, he's just all like, he just starts slugging people left and right that are zombies, and he's punching the women. So they're running and they're running. And he's telling everybody, like, don't look back. And Shirley, she looks back. And he's like, Shirley, I said, don't look back. So she starts to get, like, attacked. But then, like, she ends up making it into, like, the restroom. And Chang is in there. Then the strangest thing happens. Those two have, like, a moment. And she's all like, oh, I can't believe I'm gonna die dressed as Miss Piggy. And Chang's all like, you're not Miss Piggy. You're, like, Glinda from, like, the Good Witch and from the Alice in Wonderland. Is it Alice in Wonderland? No, the Wizard of Oz. And she was shocked because he's the only person who got her costume right. And she's all like, she said like she respects Peggy Fleming. He's all like, oh, you're not a racist. Then those two have a very awkward kiss. That's just bizarre and weird. And it's like, huh? So then Jeff and Abed and Troy, they're like running and they make it down in the basement. And as they're down like in the basement, they're like, they can't see. And then all of a sudden, the weirdest thing happens. A cat starts jumping at them and snarling. It's like the most hilarious, off the wall, strange, random thing that happened. The cat's just constantly going at them. And Jeff's all like, screw the zombies, we have to deal with this cat. And Abed's all like, but the zombies, man. And he's all like, no, this cat's more important. We have to take this thing out. And then so Troy and Abed, they're like talking. Abed's still upset that Troy changed his costume. And Troy's all like, I don't want to talk about this, Abed. We might die and stuff like that. And they just have their heart-to-heart bromance thing. And so Abed, he's all like, we could probably make it out the vent system if we crawl through it. And Jeff's all like, oh yeah, I'll take my chances with the zombies. And he's all like, he just doesn't want to get his suit dirty. And Troy's like, oh man, for real? And then he's all like, clothes make the man, Troy. And then the zombies bust through the door and they take Jeff. And they're biting like the crap out of him. So then Troy and Abed, they're running. And one of them can make it out the window. And so Abed's all like, Troy, it has to be you. You have to be the one to save everybody to get outside and like lower the thermostat. He's all like, what about you, Abed? He's like, look, man. He's like, he tells Troy, like, make me proud, man. Be the first black man to make it in a horror movie. Because you know how black people are in horror movies. They end up dying first. Although, in Scream Season 3, 2 of the black people actually, no, 3 of the black people actually make it. But it was an all-black cast, except for, like, one white girl. So, of course, one black person was going to make it. But this happened many years later after this episode aired. And so like then Troy tells Abed, I love you. And Abed's like, I know. And I'm just like, it was kind of like a Star Wars type thing with the whole Han and Layla thing. But so this always made me wonder, does Troy have romantic feelings for Abed? Because in season 3, when the showrunner got fired, they changed the way he started dating Britta. And then by the 4th season, he ended up leaving the show. So there's no telling what was really going to happen with Abed and Troy. So Troy goes outside and he sees the Dean, and Dean's all like, Troy, are you a zombie? If so, I will mace you. And he's all like, I have to get inside. And he's all like, the military is coming. And like, I can't open the door. So he punches the mess out of the Dean, takes the keys, and the Dean's all like, how are you going to get through those zombies? And Troy's all like, by being a nerd. And Dean's all like, we better have a plan B. So Troy goes in with his mech suit made of cardboard, being like Ripley. And it works at first. But then they start tearing it apart. And then he slugs Annie, who's a zombie. And then next thing you know, he starts to see some of the zombies, but then he sees Abed. And then he's like, and he loses focus and gets bit by Abed. And he starts getting bit by all the main cast members. He's like, all right, enough. Jeez, y'all bit the crap out of me. So then he's crawling on the ground, trying to get a thermostat. And he sees Jeff just playing with his cell phone, tapping it as a zombie. He's all like, Jeff, still cool as a zombie. And then he managed to like hit a couple of the buttons and hit the thermostat. But in reality, he hits the wrong buttons. But in the show, whatever, he lowered it. So as the temperature is lowering, you start to see some of the zombies doing their thing. Annie's a zombie and reading a book. And Troy and Abed, they're still trying to do their like bro slap thing as a zombie. But then as the temperature is lowering, they're all starting to like act normal and go back to themselves. And as Jeff is tapping on his cell phone, then he starts tapping it for real and starts reading his text and everything. So then the military and the FBI shows up and Dean's outside. And they're all like, are you the only one that's here? And he's like, yeah. And so the one's reaching inside his coat, like he's reaching for like a weapon to kill the Dean, so he won't have no witnesses. But then they alert the other dudes that there's a whole room full of like survivors. So they don't kill the Dean, but they just spray him with something that makes him lose his memory. So then when everybody's inside recuperating and everything, they're all like, man, I can't believe somebody roofied all of us. So in a way, it ends with like Troy. He's in the study room. He gets a message from Chang on his cell phone. Chang tells him like, man, I'm in the bathroom, I'm about to die. And if anybody hears this, spread the word that he totally slept with Shirley. And Troy's all like, why did he call me? So yes, Shirley and Chang, they like did it. And so the whole mystery of the season was when she gets pregnant, who is the father of her child? Her baby, her original husband, who she later gets back with, or Chang. And I just could not believe that's how it ended. It was a million times better than season 1's Halloween episode, but season 2 kicked everything up. It kicked up the love triangle between like Jeff, Annie, and Britta. The whole divorce thing and the stuff with Shirley and her baby daddy, former husband. Abed and Troy, their bromance thing. Britta and her like getting an irritating like self was cranked up a notch. And then the paintball episode. The two-parter. A million times better than that of season 1. Boy, I can't wait to talk about that. That wasn't that spooky. Alright, well, I shall talk to y'all later. Bye.